It's Bishizu 70 again. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about a post that Tunde Ednot did on his page 2 days ago. You know, the popular Instagram blogger Tunde Ednot. He did a post 2 days ago, and it was about somebody asking the question about where Cain, you know, Adam and Eve had two boys, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel, and so this person is anonymous. He was asking the question, where did Cain get a wife from? If at that point there were 4 people, one was killed, so there are 3 people left. Where did Cain get a wife from? This is a really fascinating question, and it's one that, you know, it's at the very base of what religion is all about. This kind of question, you know, I mean, there are a lot of you know, answers, responses to that question on Tunde Ednot's page. You can go there and look at some of the comments. I did put a comment there too, Bishizu 70C. This kind of question, like I said, you know, if you get it right, you understand what religion is all about. I see a lot of, you know, back and forth between Daddy Freeze and Reno Mockery, just based on their differences concerning this question. Daddy Freeze was of the opinion that, you know, there were people on earth before Adam and Eve, while Reno Mockery disagreed. He believed that Adam and Eve had daughters, and one of them was married to Cain. Basically, that's incest. Most of the responses on Tunde Ednot's page suggest, I mean, go along this line too. You know, they think that, you know, Adam and Eve had children before, female children, and Cain got married to one of those children. You know, it baffles me that, you know, people don't look at the incest angle concerning such an explanation. Basically, what it means is that you have no qualms about incest and inbreeding. You know, yeah, there are stories about, you know, Abraham being related to Sarah and all that, you know. But such stuff should baffle you, should make you worried, you know, if you're thinking that people got married to each other in the same family. Anyway, what I would like you to know today is that there's no such things in the Bible. There are books called Apocrypha. Apocrypha, Apocrypha. Such books were written later on to try and explain this kind of problem, the Cain wife problem, you know. And it was these books that suggested that Adam and Eve actually had daughters, you know, and then one of them was the one that got married to Cain, you know, and then they like an incestuous relationship, and that's what that tried to explain that problem, Cain's wife's problem, you know. Like I said, these books, there's a reason why these books did not make it into the canon of the Hebrew Bible, and it's because most of the stories are plain ridiculous, you know, even more ridiculous than the stories that made it into the canon, you know. So this kind of story, yeah, should beg the question, who wrote the Bible? I've done a series of posts today on my Bishizu 70C page on Instagram. If you're not following, you should, because there are a lot of nice stuff there. I'll be able to post on my main page, Bishizu 70A, from tomorrow. But I did a series of posts on Bishizu 70C today, which I think you should see. And it's all about answering that question, who wrote the Bible? Traditionally, it was believed that God, you know, spoke to Moses, and he was the one that wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, called the Torah, as Genesis, Exodus, Hebrew, Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. That was the traditional idea for centuries, for thousands of years, until about the 17th century, when biblical scholarship became a thing. That was after the Age of Enlightenment in Europe. And then people started looking at the stories and they were like, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up, you know. For example, there are two creation stories in Genesis. You probably don't know that. My followers know this already because I tell them all the time. That's why you should be a follower. Bishizu 70A and Bishizu 70C. Make sure you click the follow button on Instagram. I can assure you, your mind will be blown. Because I've got a lot of thought-provoking and profound posts on religion, on the history of religion, on those pages. So like I was saying, that was the original thought, that Moses was the one who wrote the Torah. But Moses actually died in Deuteronomy. He died in chapter 34. I can't remember the exact verse now, you know. How do you die in a book you wrote? Let me just try and find out the verse. Yeah, Moses died in Deuteronomy 34, verse 5. I mean, how do you die in a book that you wrote? Who wrote the other verses then? So, scholars started having a lot of, you know, were feeling uncomfortable about the idea that it was Moses that wrote the book. And then they saw a lot of other things too, you know. For example, they saw a lot of contradictions, a lot of, you know, duplication of stories, you know, a lot of accounts which are repetitive, you know, and they were like, if there was one person that wrote these books, then this shouldn't happen, surely. So, as critical biblical scholarship evolved, a hypothesis came up. It's called the documentary hypothesis. I want you to Google that, you know, and find out a bit more about the hypothesis. Now, the summary of that hypothesis is that the Bible is a long evolutionary process. I mean, the Torah is not a unified work from a single author. It's made up of several sources, 4 sources to be exact. They are called JEPD sources. Again, I explained all that in the post I did on Bishizu 70C. So I suggest that you go over there and read about them in details. So Moses couldn't have written the Torah. The accounts in the creation stories in Genesis 1 and 2 are myths. Adam and Eve are legends. These are not historical events. They are not historical people. It's possible that an Adam and Eve might have lived, you know, but one who was conversing with God, people who are conversing with God, talking to snakes and all that, they are myths. It's just like the Yoruba mythology where Oduduwa descended from heaven with some soil in his hands and formed Ile-Ife, you know, that kind of thing. You know, the Bible writers were trying to understand their world and create an identity for themselves, a story of their people. This was what they were trying to do. They never knew that it was going to be a story that religion was going to run with, and that people in Nigeria, for example, will start believing, you know. That wasn't the idea initially when they wrote all those stories. There was a civilization before that of Israel. The Babylonian civilization is at least 1,500 to 2,000 years older than the nation of Israel. They had their own creation story too. The Egyptian and the Babylonian civilizations are much older than Israel. The Babylonian civilization had a story called the Enuma Elish, a creation story of the Babylonians. I want to Google that and read about it too. I've done posts on it too on my pages. But you can Google it and read about the story and see the similarity between those stories and the ones in Genesis 1 and 2. Those stories were copied by the Bible writers. Also, there's also an epic, a Babylonian epic called the Epic of Gilgamesh. Epic of Gilgamesh. Genesis 2 and 3 and 4, got their idea from that Epic of Gilgamesh. Again, these are things that I've addressed on my page in the past. I suggest that you go over there and just scroll through, and you can actually message me if you want to read about any of those posts. Send a message to me and I'll tag it to them. There are also two books that I think that will help you in understanding the Bible, the Hebrew Bible. They are by one of my mentors. I tell my followers that I stand on the shoulders of giants, and that is why I can see further when it comes to religion. They think, it's just something I say, it's just like Rudimentad. It's not. It's real, One of the giants I stand on his shoulder is called Richard Elliot Friedman. Again, I want you to Google him and just read about his bio. His intimidating bio when it comes to critical biblical scholarship. He's written two books which I want you to get. One of them is Who Wrote the Bible? You can just read about the Los Angeles Times review of this book, Who Wrote the Bible. It's profound. You will understand the origin of Judaism if you read that book. You will understand why I keep on telling people that religion is man's ideas. Men created religion. They weren't inspired by any deity. In fact, they created the deity. Get that book, Who Wrote the Bible? You will understand the Genesis stories. The Genesis creation accounts, Genesis 1 and 2. The other book I want you to get is also by this same author, is The Bible with Sources Revealed. The Bible with Sources Revealed. I assure you, if you read both books, you will be more enlightened about your religion. I leave it at that for today. See you some other time. Bye.